So this comment says, there's a step where you created a Linux EC2 instance and endpoint. Is there a video explaining how you did it? I'm unable to test the traffic with my EC2 instance and want to create a new one like you mentioned. So Piranhabot, I really just want to thank you so much for that comment because that's actually what I'm going to do in today's video. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So linking to that video and that playlist is going to be right here. But really all we need to do is let's hop in the console, and what we got here is just a test EC2 instance, just AWS Linux. Let's refresh this. Should be up and running. And just to check, if we highlight it here, we see that there is no public IP address, just plain old RFC 1918 private IP. And if we take a look at the security group, inbound, we're only permitting SSH from basically any 10.xxx address, and outbound permitting all. So no HTTPS or anything inbound. We should only be able to SSH from a private resource, and we know we either need VPN or another mechanism to do that. So the cool thing is that AWS has this Instance Connect. So if we were to go up to connect, and so we see a lot of language here about public, blah, blah, blah. But we see there's two different connection types here. One, which is the default, is going to require an internet gateway. And of course, a public or elastic IP or public IP, which rotates. Or we can select this one right here to basically use a private IP address. We, of course, don't have an endpoint. So let's go ahead and create one. We'll click here and we get this new tab here. And while that's opening, we should take a look here. And like we said, we got this VPC that contains 3 subnets: management, private, public. At the moment, we have no internet gateway and we have no NAT gateway, so no communication to the internet. But let's go ahead and name this one. We'll just call it endpoint 01. It's temporary. And we see the service categories here if we were making SageMaker API, or if we needed a VPC endpoint connect. Like, we would basically type in that service here. Like if we type SageMaker, we'd get those interface endpoints that are available there. But for us, we can go ahead and clear that filter because right here, EC2 Instance Connect endpoint is right here. And it explains that it allows the ENI to connect to resources in a private endpoint. So we simply select our VPC, and in our case, it's the production VPC. And we do need a security group, and we created this permit SSH inbound, which is of course already attached to the instance itself. And in the subnet, we'll pick the private, the same subnet that the EC2 instance resides in. We'll create this endpoint, and I think this is one of the, I won't say services, but one of the ones that does take a few minutes instead of a few seconds typically to get created. And so this one's pending. Sometimes they'll let you in a little bit earlier, but let's go ahead and go back here and we'll test it early, although like I said, I'm pretty sure it's not quick. So let's go ahead and click on another tab, click here. And yes, our endpoint is not visible here. Create in progress. So let's me go ahead and wait here, but I'll fast forward ahead so that we can get connected and see how that all works. All right, and so we see that the endpoint populated itself here, create complete. And of course, if we go back here, we see that the status is available. So should be good to go. And really that's all we need to do is just hit connect, and should again open in a new tab, basically establish that connection, quote unquote, kind of like management plane. Now keep in mind our data plane traffic shouldn't work because again, if we do, let's see, ifconfig, we can see these are of course the IP addresses and the details there, but we have all services are wrong, but ports and IP addresses permitted outbound. But if we just, of course, ping Google, we see that that's not allowed. And that's, of course, because we need a NAT gateway to basically translate this private IP address to a public IP address to route across the internet. These RC1918 addresses are getting dropped. So that's simply all we need to do. And like I said, if you just wanted to take this solution and apply it to your test environment, then you just need to make sure you still have a NAT gateway. And if we go back here and connect again, if you wanted to go across the internet with the public internet gateway and, in your route table route that way, then you would just use this first default option. So that's really just the differences. And like we said, the purpose of a endpoint is to keep the communication, reach resources on AWS's backplane. So all of those services that are offered there shouldn't have to go across the internet. This one, because it's within a VPC, because our user is already an IAM with the appropriate credentials, that's how this communication is permitted to go. So give it a shot when you get a chance. And like I said, great question there. Glad to answer it. And I hope you actually catch this video. But for each of you out there, I just want to thank you for rocking in here with me today, this short video. I hope you found value in it. But until next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Peace.